SEC just tried to screw the crypto market again, and this time the reaction looks different. Compared to what XRP did back then, right now the market is looking at it entirely in a different way. You look at this and that's absolutely stunning to see another XRP ETF being filed, and this time it's now second one. So you have the Bitwise and Canary XRP ETFs. Remember how the SEC was pressured to come up with the Ether ETF thought process, Bitcoin ETF thought process. All of them were primarily due to these, because they'll actually go to court, ask the court why, if they are not allowing it. Now look at the price action. Look at how the price is reacting. The 3-day chart, when it closed the candle, you're watching this. We have seen these before, not once, many times. If you pick the daily, it kind of puts the argument we may actually do this. We can still do this kind of a structure at least until we break a critical level. Now, what is that critical level? For Bitcoin, it is here, 66,000. If you can break that range, Bitcoin will fly high. We are not at a support to bounce off to test the resistance. Rather, we are at the resistance, which means any move here is a breakout. Don't mess with that thought process. Even XRP didn't break the support with SEC's filing. It's trying to bounce off from that support, which shows the market is reacting differently. The results like this, we have seen them before. And if you do look at this, it's clear that the way the market is trying to react to this shows like there is a lot of whale involvement, whether with the news side or with the price action side. With the news side means what? Or the price action side means what? Is there a trap? Let's dig deep in. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Market is confusing as hell. The way the SEC filed it was a surprise. But again, this time around, SEC themselves got surprised with the reaction from crypto market and how the market sentiment reacted. They didn't really care much about what SEC wanted to say. Rather, this time around, crypto market is giving their own answers. That's positive, guys. We are looking for a macro picture here. That is positive as hell, because if we don't come back down there to test that phase, then what that means here is that the market is now trying to increase the momentum. Instead of coming back down and touching this trend line, if the price action bounces off without coming there, it is now showing you what? This can be the next trend line. The momentum to the upside is increasing. So for us, that's very positive, because on a monthly, the entire crypto market closed last month saying, I'm still inside this range. I'm still in a bull flag. It's not yet time to think otherwise. We're still in a macro bull flag. Even for XRP, when you do take this, you look at the support and you're like, whoa. We fell down to the support and that was a sharp drop. But then immediately all of those selling pressure that was absorbed by someone. So this bounce, we want to see if that can at least manage to give us a breakout here. Can we do that? Last time it showed I'm about to do that and came back in. The news was really bad at that location. So if you do think about this in a different way, you can also put the argument like, yeah. Bitcoin is testing the resistance. XRP is testing the resistance itself. We had this as a long-term trend line. Now, whichever way you put, we are kind of close to it. The touch is here 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it should be like this. So in this sense, if you're looking at this, right now we are testing a macro support, but we're very close to a medium-term resistance as well. The argument would be, okay, is the dollar going to support this right to the upside? Is dollar going to get rejected? So you go back on a macro horizon for dollar, and what you're able to see is that it broke the 3-day moving average. It already broke the daily. So now you're able to see that it is also starting to say, I'm going to test the resistance. The support range for dollar was here. This support was critical. Now it's bouncing off, and the first resistance, which may reject the price back down, is somewhat like 103.9, say close to 104. So dollar suggests it can bounce a little bit higher. But surprisingly, if you put the 3-day chart in Bitcoin as well, what you're watching is last 2 candles did try to push the price up here in the Bitcoin side of the equation. And then you're watching, yeah, dollar was also doing the same. So dollar dropped, Bitcoin dropped. Dollar is bouncing, Bitcoin is bouncing. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's trying to correlate with the dollar market. Or at least you can think this way. If you are very bullish on crypto, people are starting to look at Bitcoin like a currency. They understand the other currency is highly manipulated. They cannot trust it. They are starting to move into crypto ecosystem, just as we name it, cryptocurrencies. So they now want that currency setup. Maybe that's why we are entering there. Now, keep that aside and just look at the total altcoin market. Did the equation change? Did we get rejected, or did we break higher? If you rely on that same equation, first thing, it's clean. We talked about this at least in last 2-3 videos, saying, guys, expect something like this. What? A breakout, we did that. A retest and a bounce off. So that would make a flag like this. Getting a bull flag here is going to be absolutely bullish. If you do break that setup, now you're going much higher. Depending on which asset you pick in the market, you will actually see the narrative. Whether you go for a long-term asset, fundamental asset, or you go for a short-term meme coin, whichever you like, but the market would give you the sentiment. Say, you look at Turbo. We had the call there, we had the micro thought process there. So if you do look at Turbo right now, what can you understand? Is it becoming bullish or is it becoming bearish? This is easy thought process. You go in, you break down, you look at the RSI, you look at the MACD, and you're like, okay, fine. That asset is clearly trending higher. It's breaking the highs, it's moving up. Now, it's up to us to see where the resistance is logically so that we know where to enter, where to exit. That's cool. So you need to keep that in mind. And there's a lot of assets which are at that range. So in the SR family, we're trying to go through a lot of these assets to make sure you understand which asset is where in the market cycle. Because in the market cycle, if you're at a resistance, I don't think you really want to participate there now. Rather, it would be better to enter an asset which is just starting that run up. And there are a lot of them showing short-term, medium-term to the upside. Even long-term upside is perfect instead of reaching a resistance. So if you want to get all of those, use the link in the description below and get to the Scientific Investor family, where you can go through a one-on-one session. Depending on which tier you select, you can have multiple one-on-one sessions. Go through all your portfolio, break it down, and see if we do see a breakout here in Bitcoin, 66,000, how would the market react for your portfolio? Because if your portfolio is right now at a resistance and getting rejected, that's different. If your portfolio is bouncing off from a support, that's different. The room to the upside in both cases are entirely different. So you want to be in medium to macro process, which means you're looking at least average return or above that, if possible. So aligning your portfolio like that with these kind of information in the market is exceptionally great, because XRP holders were getting screwed. But now something is changing. Thought process is changing. Even Brad actually put this tweet out saying, yeah, it's happening, which means the push to the crypto market and the capital flow into the crypto market is changing direction. And that's all that we want. So if you're focused for this market cycle, you already understand one thing. Yes, we know the fact that the 1, the 2, the 3 matters a lot. And we're watching the 1, the 2, the 3 playing out again and again. But we also know the fact that in a market cycle, you usually get 3, 1, 2, 3 movements. So next time it can be a macro drop. I don't know how big it's going to be, but the way the market react, we'll get to see this. So if it is going this way to 100,000, 110,000, whoa, that's something to look at. We talked about this way back. Way back. So when you do go into this, you kind of get the idea that we are looking for the macro thought process. Whether that was at the bottom, the absolute bottom of the Bitcoin, we had the thought process saying, okay, guys, watch. The market is showing you different signs, which you should not neglect. Sometimes it's just like, how much can you go? What are you looking at? All these are important at the bottom. All these are important at the top too. So back in 2022, we were arguing this. Guys, last 2 cycles, we reversed from here. And we did reverse from that $16,000 mark. So your history is an important factor. Now that you go into all of these other things, you get to see the stock market. You get to see all the different thought process. Now watch. The macro cycle is still playing out. And this the third wave is inside that macro wave. So that's where I need you to focus. That's where I need you to understand, whoa. If you fall for the thought process of 250,000, 500,000, $1 million, that can be a huge trap, guys. If this is the 1, 2, and 3, in a year or two, when you get to realize that fact, it will be too late. You want to make sure monthly negative divergence is valid and you get out. You want to make sure weekly negative divergence is valid and you get out. So now we already reached till this point, 75,000. That's not a bad call. Not a bad call. But think, if we are inside this third wave and we are doing the 1, the 2, and the 3 for that, we have already done 1 and 2. All that's left is 3. That should make you think. The timeline for such a 3 is not that big. Historically speaking, what we have seen before is just 159 days. That's not long. So if we start that, break higher and start that now, yeah, that's it. That's all you have in terms of the time horizon. Watch assets which you really like, and what for assets which the market really like. If a lot of people are pumping money into few assets, they will pump. Whether we like that asset or not, they will move higher in price. So get involved to the market. And if you want help, be in the Scientific Investor family. So guys, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do that for me. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.